Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am going to be doing a wrap-up video. Originally, this was going to be an August wrap-up, but then I didn't do it. Then it was going to be in September. I didn't do it. In October, I didn't feel like filming nothing, so I didn't do a wrap-up. So yeah, it is going to be a 3-month wrap-up. So August, September, October. So yeah. Also, I am thinking about keeping this as my background. Normally I will be doing this in front of my desk, but I have things like piled up in a certain way that I don't want to move nothing. So yeah, I'm not going to do it over there. I'm just going to do it over here. So this list is not going to go in order from, books and then by section. I'm just going to list it off based off when I finished it or when I started it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I have a list that I've been keeping track of stuff. So that's good that I did because I wouldn't remember. So the first thing on the list is the movie. And it is 28 Days Later. I believe I watched that in August. Yeah, I think it was August. I don't know. I was just in the mood for like a zombie movie. And I wanted a zombie movie to be like quick paced. So I just said, let's just watch 28 Days Later. I'm in the mood for it, so that's what I ended up watching. 28 Days Later, always good to watch, I guess. Yeah. It's not my favorite. It's my brother's favorite. Well, one of his favorite zombie movies. So I was just in the mood to watch it, so yeah, I watched that. And then the next on the list is the Book of Eli. And the reason I started watching this, the reason I watched it is because in September or August, I don't remember. My dad was home and he started telling me the whole movie, which I didn't mind because I got to spend some time with him. But he told me the entire movie because the movie came on TV earlier and he was watching it, so that's why he wanted to share it with me too. So after he was done explaining it, like 30 minutes later, the movie came back on TV. And he showed me it and I just started watching it. So I felt like I watched the movie twice in a day because he was telling me. But yeah, so I watched that. And the Book of Eli, I'm going to put spoilers. So the Book of Eli takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, which honestly is like a really interesting setting. And there's this man named Eli who has the whole book of the Bible memorized. And there's this other man who kind of runs a town and he is trying to go after the Bible so that he can manipulate it, so that he can use it to manipulate the people in his town. So you can see the connection, bad guy who wants the Bible and Eli who memorized the Bible. So that's what this is, sort of thing, Yeah, it does have like heavy religious themes to it, so if that puts you off, then yeah. But honestly, the setting is really great. You wouldn't really expect like a movie like this to be in a post-apocalyptic world. Like the actual setting, it does mirror what you would expect a post-apocalyptic world to be. Also, it is kind of mature. There are some stuff that happen, like heavy mature themes that do happen in the movie. So also that would be something I want to put out. But it was really a great movie to watch. I really enjoyed it. Probably enjoyed it more because my dad is the one who showed it to me, but yeah. And then the next thing that I watched was Miracle Workers, season 1 and 2. It was around that time when there was a sudden boom for Miracle Workers because of TikTok with the video of Daniel Radcliffe dancing. That was around that time. So yeah, I watched that. And I just watched the first 2 seasons because that's all Hulu had. Was it on Hulu? Or HBO? I don't remember. It was one of those ones. That's all the seasons they had. So I didn't get to see the next season. I'm just gonna watch that one later, the 3rd season later, whenever I have time. But yeah, so I watched that. It was really funny. I really enjoyed both of the seasons. Both of them were good in their own little way. They were both like charming in their own way, so I really enjoyed both of them. And I really do recommend it because it is really funny. And then in September, I believe, like somewhere in September, Hulu released a new show called Reservation Docs. And it was getting a lot of hype within the Native American communities. So that's how I found out about it. Reservation Docs is on Hulu. They just finished their first season, and I didn't finish it because I got busy, so I'm gonna finish that later. But Reservation Dogs is about these 4 teens who are kind of saving money in unlawful ways, kind of. They're saving money so that they can leave the reservation to go to California. And that's basically what it is. There's a lot of drama, a lot of cultural stuff in the show, and a lot of Native American humor, which is really enjoyable for me. And one of the things that I love about the show is that the cast and the production team are all Native American, which I find just fantastic. Like, it makes me happy. Yeah, it just makes me really happy because I know that I can trust them with just to like handle Native American humor and issues wonderfully, since, you know, they are Native American too. So yeah, I really love the show. Again, it's on Hulu and I really, really recommend it. And then I started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm still watching it. I'm on season 6 right now. I'm just going to say it again. I love it like a lot. It's a perfect mixture of comedy and drama, which is like my favorite mixture really. And I really just like it a lot. Spoiler right here. My favorite arc is, I don't remember what season it was in, but it is when Rosa and Jake go to prison because they were framed. That one was like my favorite one. And the season finale for that arc, before it goes into the next part of the arc, before they go into jail, Hulu, it didn't show, you know how it shows like the bar to click the next episode and it loads for the next episode? That didn't happen. And it just, when the episode ended, when they're at the bank, the credits just kept rolling. The credits just kept rolling, so it was like kind of quiet. And I thought for a second that the show stopped right there, like it got canceled or something. So, and I thought that it ended on a cliffhanger. So I got kind of worried about that. But then like it loaded to the next episode and I was relieved because, you know, that would have been a bad cliffhanger. But yeah, that's what happened. But like I said, I'm still on season 6 right now. So yeah, I still have about 2 more seasons to go, I think. And then I only read 2 books within these past 3 months. I finished Writings and Speeches That Changed the World, which is just a collection of Martin Luther King Jr.'s writings and speeches. And I got this in 2016 and I just read it this year. And the reason I got it was because I wanted to read more of Dr. King's work. Because, you know, in school we don't really read his other works. I mean, the most we read is the I Have a Dream speech, but they kind of cut it off to that small paragraph. And maybe Birmingham jail, depending if you have time in class. So that's pretty much what we, or I at least, got to see for Martin Luther King Jr.'s works. And because I knew he had other works too, I kind of wanted to read them just to see how his other works were. So that's why I ended up picking this up when I saw this at the bookstore. I really recommend it. At the beginning of each chapter, there's this introduction right here, and then the speech starts. And the introduction kind of sets you up with the framework to show you how and what caused the speech, why Dr. King made the speech in the first place. I'm just going to go over some of the themes that were in Dr. King's speeches and writing. One of the themes had to do with how America made this culture to where colored people don't want to make a change because they either think that they don't have the ability to, or they think that it's kind of hopeless to, or they think that it's not the right time, you know, stuff like that. It, like, America kind of made them think that way. That was one thing. And then another thing was that had to do with like time, and like how the argument was that there's never going to be a right time for anything, because that's what something that came up a lot in his speeches, was that he recalled people telling him that there was a right time to start the civil rights movement, but he kept arguing back that there's never going to be a right time for anything, and that nothing's gonna get started unless you get started, you know, something like that. Another theme has to do with like how you can't get too comfortable with something, because when you get too comfortable with something, you start accepting the injustices that happen around you, which that one was really interesting to read about throughout his speeches, because you don't really think about it that way. Like, you don't think about how when you get too comfortable with something, you don't really see the negative parts of your life in regards to that. So that was like really interesting to read about, like I said. Oh, and then another theme that I didn't realize was that Dr. King talked about was his views on war, specifically the Vietnam War. Yeah, so I really recommend reading this. My favorite speeches was the Birmingham letter, and then the other one was the I see the Promised Land speech was my other favorite one. And I believe that it was his last speech before he passed. So yeah, that one was a really heavy one to read, I guess. The last book I read, it was part of my textbook, so I kind of had to read it for class. It was The Death of Ivan Lee Inch. I know I'm saying that wrong. That's how I was saying it in my head when I was reading it, but then I saw my professor's lecture, and she was saying it differently than I was, but I don't remember how she said it because it was a while ago. But yeah, that's what I read. It was okay. Really care about it that much. It was just something I had to read for class. It was interesting, but like I said, it was just okay. So yeah, so that's pretty much my wrap up. Overall, it was a good 3 months in regards to like movies and shows. But yeah, books, kind of wish I read more books, but you know, I was kind of busy with this one, that's why. So anyway, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to, and I hope you have a nice day, morning or night. Bye. Later.